Welcome to the Seth and Beth podcast. How are you, Bubby?
I'm good. I just want us to do that.
I'm good.
I'm Gucci. I just want us to do that cute thing where I say I'm Seth and you say I'm Beth.
I'm Beth.
But I mess it up every time. I'm just Beth.
We're both in
okay?
floral shirts today. Mine much louder than yours.
Yeah.
You look stunning in yours, of course,
Thank
as
you,
always.
darling. I wish you couldn't see this, but
Little undershirt.
yeah, but
Well, what are you gonna do?
I'm getting a
What
little
is
chubby in my midsection, so I wear these to kind of like smooth out the stomach a little.
Is it working?
Probably not. I have to unbutton my pants just to sit here.
Well, 2 C-sections. I mean, hello.
I know.
Cut into your stomach a couple times. Pull
look
out
like
these
one of those-
fat babies I make.
I look like one of these cats, you know, after they get spayed and neutered and their stomach hangs real low.
It's like a.
That's what I look
It's like an udder, but it's not an udder.
And
I'm not saying you on a cat.
And next time you see a cat hanging like that, just think that's what Beth looks like naked.
Cat cows.
Oh, you should see me in that yoga pose. Not good.
It's good. Trust me.
Man.
Listen,
I don't know.
I think you've been criticized in the past because, like you look great. And then you say this in front of other people who might not look as great as you. And they're like, what's this bitch talking about? She's saying she's fat.
We need to stop this. Moving on.
Bitch. What is the one topic we get from one question we get when we say we're photographers? What do they always ask
How
us?
did you guys start doing this? Like, who did it first? Was it you or was it you?
Yeah, so I think
That's like every wedding somebody asks that.
yeah, we wanted to come to you guys today. If you want to be a photographer, if you are a current photographer,
Or you just wanted to know.
or you just want to know and now you know.
Now you know.
Like maybe how we started and tips that we've learned and how we got to the famous, world-renowned, incredibly handsome people that we are.
This is so not true.
How
Okay.
did this happen, Beth?
All right. So this is how it started. Like, I did have a camera. It was still a point and shoot. It was not like anything fancy at all. But you were super cute. And you knew that I was just like taking pictures of our cats all the time. True. I was taking pictures of the cats. And you were like, oh, she's like so into this. And he's like always been into these hobbies, right? Like he was a tattoo guy. He built motorcycles. He got a PhD. He was into like refereeing football, magic cards. He like was the comic strip guy for his newspaper at school.
College of Worcester.
These are just like some things. Like it's more than just that. And so you
We're
were
starting
like,
kombucha this week.
True.
I'm a hell of a cook.
I know.
Oh, I'm so.
Okay,
What a catch
we need
I
to stop
am.
talking about you. More about me. I think you were just excited that I was like expressing interest in something beyond like
Oh, that's right.
makeup
See, you're not into a bunch of hobbies. So if you were into like
just like
knitting,
into
or something,
life.
yeah, I can get you things, but you're not
like-
always into like I'm into a ton of hobbies.
anything that I've ever expressed interest in, you were like, boom. Like I was like, oh, I'd like to get a bike. You're like, I'm getting her a bike. And then I was like doing spinning classes. You're like, I'll get her some spinning shoes. He's always real cute like that, very thoughtful. But so you were like, oh, okay, Beth is taking pictures of the cat. I'll get her photography lessons. So like this guy came to it was like a 3-pack.
When was this?
See, you're so cute, you don't even remember your own cuteness.
Wow.
So this guy came to our house and he just like showed me like how to use the camera.
How nice. A house
'Cause
call.
Isn't that something in itself? Just like, what are all these
Sounds like the beginning of a
buttons?
porn. Wow, chicka, wow, wow. Hey, I'm here to fix your camera.
Yeah, I heard you got C-section scars.
Oh,
I'm
Lord.
into that. No, too gross.
Good heavens. Yeah, but no, everyone asks us how we started. So I
All
think.
right, so
keep
whatever.
going.
Okay, so like I got the camera and I got the like couple classes or whatever, and then like years went by and we were about to have a baby, and I was like, we should get those like super expensive newborn photography photos taken at
Yep.
Peter's, like this. They take really cute newborn photos in the Columbus area. And you're like, well, how about instead of like $2,000, $3,000 for,
I think at the time I thought expensive was $500.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Well, what you didn't know, we were about to spend about $3,000. So you bought me a camera instead. Yeah. And you're like, and then you could just take all the photos you want. I'm like, yeah. And so you got me the camera. And then I would be like, honey, I really want my picture to look like this. Mm-hmm. And you'd be like, okay. And you're like this super analytical researcher guy that you'd be like, okay, let's look into this. So like together we would like analyze these photos and be like, see how the light's coming in? Okay, we need some light.
That's a great point. I think going back, step one, let me cut in right now. Here's step one. This has to start as a side hustle. I don't think you can
It doesn't have to, but it's nice if it is your side hustle.
Yeah.
Like you have a job.
Money.
And this is like you're learning this on the side.
Yeah, it costs money to get involved. You're not going to get great gigs. You rightfully so shouldn't be hired for really great gigs when you first start. So much like our dear friend, a friend of mine, I talk to him all the time, Gary V. No, I'm kidding. I don't talk to him at all. A very famous guy, but he's the king of like, you got to start a side hustle. And so for us, it was like a side hustle. You were teaching. I was in school still, or I just got my first chemistry job. Yeah. So we had funds coming in where we could waste our time with practicing with photography. And
now we just have this newborn baby. So he would just lay there and we would take all the photos we ever wanted. We had all of these lights and not all these lights. We had one light. He went and got one off-camera flash. But no, like you had like one, that's when you're like, oh, if you like that photo, it says that we have to have this off-camera flash. I don't know what that is, but you have to have this trigger and you have to have this light. And then we would watch all these YouTube videos on lighting and everything.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
that's just it. Step one, it has to be a side hustle. And step two is, and I think people of all the years, people have not so much criticized, but questioned, I would say is we found photographers that we really loved and we really tried to copy what they did.
Yeah.
Like, we learned.
That might sound bad, but that's like what we did.
What we tried to do. And everyone says that. See, even you didn't say that. It's like, oh, it might sound bad. And for me, it was like all I could do. Like,
you go to school and you copy somebody's work. Like, I mean, you should come up with your own ideas. But when, like, we didn't have any ideas. We were just learning how to do all the ideas. Sorry, guys, I'm new at this podcasting thing.
Yeah. So I would say is I would become a fan guy or gal, fanboy or gal of some top photographers and start trying to emulate them.
So, like they'll post like what lens they used and what the settings were. And so we were like just learning like, well, why do you need to have the settings like that? And why that lens? So, you just have to learn. And so like, I mean, you did a lot of that research, which is probably why, you're just so knowledgeable about all of that.
So, but isn't it funny? So looking back after 8 years and hundreds of weddings, do you remember how concerned we used to be about the camera settings? It was always like, wow, what settings were you at? Wow, look at this photo. What settings? And now that I've evolved and learned that the settings have absolutely nothing to do with the photos. The settings are indirectly proportional to themselves. So if you crank one up really high, the other one has to go low. And if you crank one really slow, the other one's got to go high and vice versa to take the same photo. I just remember being a young photographer. It's like, wow, we'd go to these workshops. We spent so much money on workshops. I was flying all over the country, spending thousands of dollars.
You're still good. We still do.
Yeah, we still go to workshops
once
and conferences.
A year, we like to educate ourselves in some way. But now it's not. Our workshop is really that retreat that you go on, which we'll both go on.
Yeah, it's more of a mental workshop, really. But
right. So
we'll
like now, okay.
But no. Like, so I would say is if you're going to follow people, is number one is you have realize that someone very, very smart told us this, and it's always a challenge because they're coming out with new cameras, but the quicker you can master this little machine, the better photographer you'll be. So understanding what settings do to photos is much more important than wondering what the settings were on a photo. I still see it to this day.
That's great.
Yeah. Like, again, your shutter speed could be 8,000 or 200, and that's going to determine the way the photo might look. And the cool part is if you know that very quickly and you can master a machine, when it happens in a wedding or a family session, say someone runs up on top of a hill and they're dark and the skylight is very bright, if you can crank your camera really, really quickly, you may be able to get a silhouette.
You're so good at that.
Yeah, we just practice. We talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
But yeah, I mean.
All right, so that's how we started. Who were some of the photographers that we... Who were some of the photographers that we liked when we first started out?
Well, I'm a big fan of Jerry Gahan and Suzy Stripling.
Oh, so I was going to say the same thing.
They really...
Suzy Stripling. I still think about Jerry Gahan and some of, like, I don't know. He really has some, like, lasting impressions on my mind of certain photos and, like basic things, Like, I don't know. He's great.
Yeah, he's been pretty much great. One of the top renowned wedding photographers for the past 10 years.
He's just able to explain it so down to earth that you understand what he's talking about.
Well, he has an Australian accent. That helps a lot.
That's cute, yeah. He's very authentic, too, and he's got that lovely wife, and she doesn't take any photos, but, like, I like what she's done for their brand, Like, she's
Suzy
great.
Stripling is a wedding photographer out of New York, and she went on this amazing run probably 5 or 6 years ago of just, like, killer wedding photos and sharing, lots of fans. I say a run because I know she has kids, she's married, and she might be into new things. Or maybe I just don't follow her as much as I used to because we've sort of tried to emulate even other people. And when I say emulate or copy, as you said, it's always sort of frowned upon. Why would you want to copy another photographer? I always did that because I just wasn't good enough. If I tried to copy someone else, inevitably we found out that we would come up with a photo of our own that was us. And so everyone would always ask me, why do you want to be that person? I'm just like, well, because they're better than I am at photography. What do you mean, why do I want to be that person?
I don't want to be myself.
Yeah, I suck at this. Like, I'd love to, I'd love to
take my photos. I want to take their photos.
Yeah, but inevitably we started taking photos and that were straight up copies of other person, but they were only copies in our minds.
Right. It didn't actually look like their photo.
Yeah, the product
at all.
ended up being something different, which is astounding. I tell people all the time, especially with weddings, like, you break down a wedding, like, in its barest form, a wedding is people standing around doing small, quiet things. We're getting ready. It's very quiet. We're having a first look. It's two people, a little bit of tears. They're whispering to each other. A ceremony is so quiet, no one can even hear it. And then they dance together, and then all of a sudden, all this energy explodes at the end of the night. Well, and it's challenging because all of our energy is sometimes depleted by that time.
Dude, the second you said that, I was thinking those same words. Like, when everyone else has all the energy, it's when I have the least amount of energy.
So we pump the coffee, we pump the cake. You're a professional cake cutter.
Oh my gosh, the cake.
Cake taster, not cutter. Yeah, you're a professional fart cutter, really. But
don't you kind of, like, when they're, like, trying out the first bites, like, it's like
every time.
Don't you kind of just
sometimes they're asking us, what do we do with this cake? And I'm just like, feed it to me.
Yeah, I just want it, like, every time. Or sometimes when they're like, they eat just one bite and they put their, like, that cake plate down.
Oh, no doubt.
Don't you just want to eat the rest of it? Like, just want it so bad. I know we're gonna have to wait though.
Remember, Lauren had that cake. It was the geode cake, but it was blue, red velvet. It was like red velvet.
Oh, it was red velvet, but it was blue.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So how did we get to cake? From photography to cake. I
love cake so much. I want to eat cake right now.
So how did we get into this? The side hustle is a lot.
Yeah.
You have to watch YouTube. Like, you have to say, how do I shoot? If you want to shoot better silhouettes, which we were terrible at years ago. And I did one workshop with 2-man.
My stomach just growled.
Do you want dinner after this?
No, I'm going to eat a salad.
What did we have for lunch? Did we go out for? Oh, we did go out for lunch. Oh boy. Okay.
We're gonna both have salads.
Got to chill out for dinner.
Okay,
so I went to one workshop halfway across the country, all the way across the country in Vancouver, Canada, with 2-man, Erica and Landy Mann, 2-man, and they're very, very famous workshops, and they sort of helped me learn how to take silhouettes.
Why did you want to go to that workshop so bad?
It was a really so 2-man, Erica and Lanny, who now, we don't text them, but they would certainly know who we are. I mean, we're friends. We see each other at all these events and say hello, which is nice because they're so famous and amazing. They've won like 160 Fearless Awards.
Wow.
Incredible. and they've now made it a world tour of their photography workshop. But somehow, basically, it's sold out every time. These workshops sell out. Like they'll do 6 all over the world, and they sell out in like an hour.
Why did you want to go?
Probably to push myself again to be like what I. So again, I say I'm copying them. In reality, I wanted my photos to look more like theirs, which were better than ours.
Right.
And so maybe
whatever they're doing was something we were lacking.
And maybe that is the biggest thing that I can say, Beth, is for some reason you and I have been given this gift that we sort of know where we stand.
Oh, we can see where we need help at.
Where there's a lot of young photographers that they don't even want help because you know
what
why?
What do you think it is right now that we need help at?
What do we need help at right now? What do we need help at right now? I still to this day think I could be a little more closer to the action.
Yeah. I know that I could totally. I felt it even at the last wedding. I was like, get in there, Beth.
Yep. There's an incredible way. In fact, I wanted to share, 2 men shared a blog today whom I still very much look up to. And there's an incredible way that photographers can frame photos. And all too often, I think that you and I stick a little too careful to like the perfectly boxed. I even tell you this, like, can we get this photo perfectly boxed this way? I want our lines straight. In realities, there's ways where you can creatively tilt to enhance the photos. We used to tilt, remember this, we used to just take the camera of a couple kissing, and then you just tilt it about 30 degrees, and it made 0 sense whatsoever. It just looked like they were kind of falling down a cliff. So if you're doing that, stop. But the most riveting photo they put out of a wedding they just took, most riveting in my mind, no thanks, is that they were playing a beanbag game, cornhole in the backyard, and they just tilted the camera to get like 3 people in the photo, where I would just always just take it straight, straight lines.
Okay.
They tilted it to get the person who was closest to them. They fit more, sort of at a 45-degree angle, and the throw. Like it all made sense, and I wanted you to see it, but that's probably where I
read that
could
blog.
improve. But anyway, they're really, really great, and so
that's something we need help on. We got to get back on our blogging. We'll get on it.
Well, gosh, blogging.
Listen, if we ever shot any of your weddings and we didn't blog you, like, it's nothing personal.
Sorry, we're not writers.
We're just,
I've never written anything.
There's so much to do. Sometimes something's lacking. We'll get back
I did a blog this morning, and like it's an Indian wedding, and I'm like literally looking up the websites of like 30 different vendors, the limousine, the party bus, the cakes, the rentals. It's like, oh my gosh, blogging is ridiculous. So
I know it.
That's what we need help with. Yes.
All right.
But anyway, so I would say find someone to emulate. And the third thing, and we mention this like every single podcast because it changed their lives, is you have to incorporate, you will not make any money in photography.
Right. That was what I was going to say next. Like,
go ahead.
We didn't make any money. Like, any money that we made, we just invested it back in to buy better gear, new gear, enhanced gear. We need another camera, whatever it is. So, and we did that for years. I'm talking years. So I don't know. I'll never forget when like you act like, oh, you know what it was, honey? We needed new tires on the car. And for the first time we used money to buy something for ourselves. I was like, oh my gosh.
You mean photography money?
Photography money. We didn't, it was like real money that we got, that we were able to buy something for ourselves. And I was like, wow, that was a good feeling.
Yeah. So I was going toward, if you're a photographer, if you can move closer to providing physical goods for your clients, you both are going to be happier. We've said this before. You're going to be happier because you're going to make more money. And guess what? People are happier to spend money. We love spending money.
When you say physical goods, you mean like an album or
printed goods, wall art, prints. Yes, something other than just handing you a digital. I mean, I say this every time, but it just changed our lives. Someone told this to us. We started doing it, and sure enough, we got happier, and our clients were happier. People,
And it's not even about us getting more money or something like that. You know what it is? It's about seeing our hard work and our knowledge and everything that we've worked so hard for. And they're so proud of what we've done for them. They put it up.
Yeah.
And they're going to have it up forever. They're going to have an album that they'll give to their kids someday. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I helped you get that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I do tell clients, and if you're listening and I've told you this, I'm absolutely number one. Like, the money you pay us will come and go. Like, literally half the time a wedding couple pays us, it's already gone. It's gone to our mortgage, it's gone to our car payment, our kids' savings, our long-term savings, our taxes, all that. Like, the money, it's already gone. Before you even give it to us, we already owe it to somebody else. But the lasting impression that we have, that we can live with as photographers, is like knowing that you guys have done something with your photos and that they can be cherished. It's like, it's an amazing feeling. And I get really, really sad when we take really, really great photos at the wedding and they don't end up in the album. And I just sort of know they're never going to end up anywhere. But that just means we need to take better photos so that they do end up in the album, I guess.
You know, this idea that how we started our business, I feel like in some ways, we're still starting our business. Like we're it's not like the business is, I mean, we're just always working to make the business better, to make us better, to make our experience better, to make we're always trying to make the business better. We're still.
Well, it's a blessing and a curse, because I think in some other careers, like, you can work hard and work up through the ranks, but with a personal business is like the only ranks are going to be self-set. Like you have to set your own ladder, and then you have to work really hard to get to it, like anyone else in any other business, except you might not necessarily get rewarded for it financially until your clients are on board with where you're going. So, but boy, I think one of the biggest things we've done, again, is learning to not sell physical goods, but learning to get physical printed goods into the hands of your clients because they like the experience more. And it's been a true blessing for us. I really, really love seeing the clients. And I mean, our clients have wall art up. They have wall art from their engagement sessions. They have their parent. I visit with moms and dads and build albums for them. It's just been a really, really
okay, so what happens if somebody has an idea right now to start a business? It's not even a photography business, babe. It could be any sort of business. How do they turn that idea into a business?
Well, I think the patience of knowing it's probably going to be bad for 6 months or a year or 2 years.
The business will be bad, or just like...
Well, theoretically, when you start a business, a lot of money is going to go out before it comes in. So when you start a business... you can't jump into 6 weeks later wondering why you're not making any money. I think the government allows for your first 5 or 7 years for you to not actually show any income. If all your income comes in and goes out even more than what you're making, like, that's okay, that you can show a loss at the end of the year. And so I think patience is a big thing.
Oh, no.
Which is why it has to be a side gig, I think.
And it's tough. It's tough when you have this great idea and you just want it to, like, be awesome right away, and it just kind of sucks in the beginning.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
It's tough.
Fortitude. I love that word. Fortitude and perseverance. Just
perseverance?
Just, did I say something wrong? Did I say it wrong? I love that word.
It's one of your favorite words in your mind, but if you have to actually say it, it's tough. You know?
I don't know, that idea of just like keep working and keep like just keep going. It's gonna be all right. Like, that's really hard. It's hard to have it, you know?
Yeah, the last podcast we talked about like surrounding yourself with positive thinkers and positive speaking.
Sometimes you do that for me, you know? Like, I'll be like, oh man, you know, like, it's just we're not where I thought we were going to be, or today isn't what I, you know, like, I just want some good news. You got this in you, where you're just like, you're like my hype man. You'll come in like, so Seth has like an office, right? Like an actual room that he works in. And then I usually am at the kitchen island. I don't know why. I just like it there. Like, I could have my own office. No, I like it right at the kitchen island. So like, he's kind of down the hall for me. We don't really work side by side. He'll come in like this. All right.
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel good. Don't you feel good? This is what I'm working on right now. And man, it feels so good to be doing this. Like, what are you working on right now? Man, we are just, you know, if we just keep doing this, it's going to be all right. And
maybe that's it.
And in my mind, I'm like, I will have just had these thoughts in my mind, like, are things good? Are we good? Is everything good? And then he'll come in and he's just, I don't know. I appreciate that about you, babe. How like.
One of our dear friends owns Jekyll and Hyde Hair Salon in Clintonville. Great place to go get your hair did. And she's been a real positive thinker at times. Had to overcome some things. But I don't know why I love this quote. I'm not even a big quote guy. I see quotes and I'm like, oh, what a nice quote. I'm never going to think about that again. But this one hit me. It was like, yeah, you just be so good that they can't ignore you. And I was like, well, yeah, well, they could. And I'm like, well, that's sort of my mantra is like, just keep doing really, really great stuff. And I think a lot of the life coaches and business coaches of this that are really getting famous nowadays, they're saying a lot of this. It's like, because Gary Vee, I think he has a book. It's called like, it's like jab, 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 or hook or something. But his premise is like, you give, I give, and then I ask for the say, like, hey, oh, by the way, I can do that for you, you know. Like, I'm going to educate you on why you need it, why it's important to you. And, oh, by the way, we can do that for you. I think that's our goal with albums is like, you're going to need this. It may be a lot right now. It might be overbearing because you have a wedding. But like when all the wedding goes away and your friends go off back to their places and it's 3 weeks after your wedding or 3 years or 30 years, like you're going to need an album to remember the day by. And so boom, whoop, we provide that, you know? And so... Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I do that to you.
Yeah,
like
I like
come in
that.
and sort of be your hype man. I got the towel. And
sometimes my Geo can be that way too. Like he's super cute. He's his own hype man.
We could have Gio on the podcast, you know.
Our wedding? Like
sure, we're a family. He knows all about it.
He knows all about
when it. You have to stare into a child's eye and say that we're going, like Saturdays, most kids, like that's their jam day, right? Like school's out.
Right.
And you have to stare into a child's eye and say, Mom and Dad are leaving for the whole day.
And then he makes that sound real bad. Like our kids, like we've had the business their whole life. Yeah. So that's all they know. Like they know so much about wedding photography. It's hilarious. Like Seth will be editing and Gio will come in and be like, what are you doing, Dad? Oh, I like her dress. I like that, that part in the front. I like that. Or like, we always try to like maybe bring a piece of cake home for the kids, or, if they have a cookie in Northeast Ohio, they'll have like the cookie tables, you can bring some cookies home for the kids and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I like this kind of cake. And they just know so much. Yeah. How was the wedding, guys? Like that's what they'll say Sunday.
That. Yeah.
They're great. Look great.
So anywho, that's how we got started. We always looked up and try to follow somebody. We tried to learn, watch a lot of YouTube videos on how to do stuff.
You know what Hanky told me the other day?
Go ahead. That's our 6-year-old. 6. Is he 6? Oh,
yeah,
boy.
He said, he looked at me. He said, I could marry you, Mom. I'm like, you think so? He's like, I'd marry you, Mom.
Well, he used to say he wanted to live at home with his husband.
Which would be fine, too.
So one of the two is going to happen.
He's so cute. No, what did he say? He said, we asked him, like, so what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to study when you go to college? And he said, I'm not going to college. I'm going to stay home with my husband and party.
It's a great plan.
I know it. Dan?
Especially if you have the funds coming through for that. That'd be great. Well, thanks for the great podcast, Beth.
I love you, honey.
I love you.
I love you so much.
I love you. It's nice talking to you.
I know. You look really cute. I think I really like that shirt. I was kind of like...
You were iffy about an hour ago.
I know, right?
Now you're back on board, huh?
I don't know. Maybe I just love you. Everything.
I think it's just loud enough to be cool. Check us out on YouTube. It's just loud enough to be cool, but not dad Hawaiian dickhead shirt. Dickhead dad.
Oh.
Now, if I put my cell phone on a clip on my belt on the outside.
Listen, if you do that,
then
that's fine.
We're moving into a new phase
Seth
of dad.
just doesn't like that.
Of daddom.
I like it when your hair's poofy, though, honey. How come it hasn't been...
It's 92 degrees outside.
Oh, so like your gel just like melts, flops. I get it.
It's like the Wicked Witch of the West.
That's okay. You're cute.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Follow us on YouTube. Our website, sethandbeth.com. Cha-cha-ching. We do weddings all over the world.
What kind of photos are you going to have going on right now? Like,
just you and I. No photos of us at the moment. Not this specific moment. other podcasts, we highlight photos of our work at specific venues, so on and so forth. And so follow us if you want to hear more about this.
Yep.
I don't know many video podcasts. We know a lot of photographer friends all over the country. I could rattle off 30 of them right now. They're very, very famous. And maybe one podcast I will talk about all my best friends and how you should follow all of their amazing work and how we look up to them. So I'd hate to start a list off the top of my head because I would leave out some very important people. But anyway, like and subscribe to Seth and Beth Wedding Photography, SethandBeth.com. Love you, Bubby.
I love you, honey.
Bye.
Bye.